the next morning, we woke up and it was kind of one of those, like, what is happening movie type moments where we were just looking at each other like, okay, not proud of this, and as much as there were boundaries, there weren't as many boundaries as there should have been, but we did cuddle. And cuddling isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Well,
but I think it did not help you and I.
Yeah.
Like, emotion-wise, and with all the rumors. Because I was always a very cuddly person. Which was always an issue because...
Between our relationship.
Yeah, because, like, I'm super cuddly. Like, my past, I would, like, you want a hug? We're gonna cuddle. That's the type of person I was. And that's just because, like, I grew up...
But we worked through that.
Yeah.
Because that was an uncomfortable boundary that I wasn't comfortable with.
Yeah.
Even though that's what we did.
Yeah.
But
I think that's when I started realizing you were right. Like, and so was everybody else. Cuddling, yes, you can cuddle with your friends, but when you reach a certain age and when you're in certain relationships, it's not necessarily I don't want to say the right thing to do.
When you're single and ready to mingle?
No. See, no. Just to clarify, cuddling should not be an intimate thing. I still believe that. I do truly still believe that. There's a different type of cuddle. However, I can understand and I agree that it's a fine line and should be discussed and clarified.
Yeah.
Because that's where you and I had a lot of gray area.
Yeah. Until we actually talked it out.
Yeah. Anyway, so...
long story short, that's when we really got together. And then Mom came to visit.
Well, okay, so yeah, we got together. But didn't get together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got together, but we weren't together.
In Ashley's mind, we got together but didn't get together. In my mind, we got together. But because in her mind, she counts the day that I asked her mom.
Which was 5 days later.
Whereas I count it as the day that I told her yes.
Yes, being that she also had the same feelings. Yeah. And... yeah.
So 5 days later, her mom came to visit, and because her ex-best friend, back then was best friend, told her that I should ask her mom if we can date.
You felt like
be
that's
together,
where it was coming from.
Because it was the way that you had phrased it to me.
And remember, especially back then, I was a little wussy pie. Didn't know how to actually ask for the things I want, stand up for what I felt were me or what I wanted.
Long story short is
I used my ex-best friend as a reason to get her to ask my mom.
Long story short is I pulled her mom aside and privately asked her if she wouldn't mind if we were together. And to this day, I still think it's kind of funny the way she actually responded was kind of funny, because the way that Jen had responded to
back in July
with how Ashley and I were is pretty much how her, because Jen had said, like, why can't you guys just get together? And her mom was like, I knew this would happen. I knew it. And I wanted this day to happen.
Yeah. Which now that I think about
Which I think is funny, because I've never met Mom by then.
At that point, no. You were just all stories.
Yeah, and for some reason she had already liked me
Well, because there's a whole lot behind that. And in her words, and this is going to sound super blunt, but in her words, it's because you were going somewhere.
Oh. Well. Surprise, Mom.
I don't know why I've never thought about this before, but I wish I could ask Mom. I want to know why her first question wasn't, what happened? Like, aren't they still together?
Yeah, she didn't ask me that.
I know.
She just straight out
really, like, her and I had a conversation not too long after that about, like, what happened, and we kind of just both, like, it was something her and I always did, like, oh, we'll talk about it later. Which meant she would get details within, a year or so, and having to piece them all together.
Yeah, no, she was excited. Like,
yeah.
Overjoyed. Like,
and that started the weird relationship between you and Mom.
How is it weird?
Not weird, like, bad, but I remember things got rocky every now and then between you guys because you felt like she was being too immature or, like, wanting to know too many details.
And I think at this point right now, I think it's because Mom had to raise you guys. Mm-hmm. I don't think she was able to enjoy her.
Oh, no, she did.
Oh.
She got all her partying out. Okay, but at the same time, yes, part of me agrees.
I won't know that. I wasn't her daughter. Although she will say that I am her daughter.
That's what I mean by weird, not in a bad way, but weird relationship, because you guys became really close, even though sometimes it seemed like she would just piss you off.
Isn't that what a mom's supposed to do?
Well, and that's just who she was, or is. I can't say was. Is. She has a way of getting underneath our skin while also being
Mom
there for you. And,
oh, yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, ugh, but also like, okay.
Anyways, so after that, we kind of ended up together, blah, blah, blah.
Kind of.
After that, we ended up together, blah, blah, blah. And then come 13, 14?
Really?
I don't remember the year. I just remember the day.
You're terrible.
I know it was February. And I remember the day. The date, the day, the time. I remember all that.
You remember the time?
Yes.
What was the time?
Because the concert was at no, because I remember we had to be there around 5. No, because we had gone to dinner first. And then we had to be there at around 6 because she was doing the pre-concert. And then her concert started around 8. So I think it was like between 6 and 8. You know what?
2 hours.
You know what? You know what? At least I brought it down to 2 hours. Okay. I'm not having this conversation.
Anyway, so
you should at least be happy that I remember the month, the date.
Yeah.
And where and how.
We got together August of 2011. And February of 2014 is when we got engaged. Obviously, a lot of stuff happened in between, both good and bad, like any relationship.
Yeah, because that's when we started going. We started coming down here for Christmas. We were staying up there for Thanksgiving. Anyways, February 2014 is when we got engaged. I took you to a Demi Lovato concert. I wanted. I had 3 plans. I had Plan A, Plan B, Plan C.
And if you know me and my family, you would understand why she needed a Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C.
So
Sadly.
my plan A was to do the engagement at Disneyland. I wanted to involve her entire family in this because they're
And
all
my closest
close
friends
like
at
that.
that time.
Yeah, and all her closest friends.
At that time.
I had asked for help, and nobody was willing to help me except Mom, which was really frustrating because by that point I was, and this is coming from me because by that point in my mind I was thinking, are you sure these are really your friends? Because if they were, they would help.
Oh, we also realized there was other
Because you
issues at
and
play.
Catalina, you remember Catalina?
Yes, I remember Catalina.
She was willing to go out of her way and come with me to go pick out a ring.
I remember you telling me that.
So for me, like, that was a really big thing because I remember you guys were close.
We were, yeah.
And you guys weren't even as close as your close friends. And your close friends weren't even willing to help me.
But again, we realized there were other issues at play.
Anyways, so my plan A didn't pan out, which is really frustrating because according to Disneyland bylaws, you can't do those kind of things even though everybody's doing it now, which is freaking frustrating. Anyways,
that's what you were told at the time.
Yeah.
Because everybody was doing it in secret back then, but now it's like a huge thing.
Which is frustrating because I had planned out this extravagant engagement, which I had to give to my brother.
You know, which I feel like.
Which honestly, I don't.
Mess,
I don't hate it that I gave it to my brother because at least my idea was used. But at the same time, like,
but
I just thought it was cool because it was.
No,
my idea.
Absolutely loved the idea.
And I kept trying to tell you.
More personal
you,
to us.
you do remember that I kept trying to tell you, like, this was supposed to be your engagement.
I do.
This was the idea that I was trying to give you for an engagement, which none of your back then friends wanted to help me, except Mom. Mom actually had asked me if I could do this as a one-man show. Like, just her doing it. And I told her it wouldn't make sense.
It could have worked, but it would
because you would know what's going on if it's just you and her.
Anyway.
So, plan A was that
Disney. I
would do all these little cute hints that take her to different rides. They'd meet up with different people. Eventually it would... This is copyrighted by JoJo, by the way, so nobody take this. Because I swear to God, if somebody takes this idea, I'm gonna
scream.
Anyways, so there would be hints. Take you to the ride. You ride the ride. You get off the ride. Somebody would be there. Be like, like, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just hanging out at Disneyland. Oh, that's so cool. You want to hang out together? Yeah, let's hang out together. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so you go to like a couple rides, and then eventually. So what I had planned...
Sorry, I'm not bored, I swear.
It's okay, I've yawned a couple times. So what I had planned was that we would end up at the end in front of the castle when the fireworks went off, about that time.
I thought... Oh, maybe...
So my plan was slightly different from what I did to my brothers, but...
But see, and I thought we were gonna end... Okay.
So I had ended... My plan was to end at the castle around where the fireworks, would go off. And I was going to show up in a Winnie the Pooh outfit.
Oh.
And I was going to come up like a character, but not like a character.
Right.
Because you can't dress up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I would come up and, like, I pretty much just ask you. What I did for my brother
was just in front of the ride, as
in front of the
cosplaying
in front of the favorite ride, having him cosplay it. She would ride the ride, not realizing it. We had set up like a whole scenario, with hearts and candles and battery candles, and it was cute because all the cast members were helping us, which made me kind of jealous because. This was my dream, but it was nice that my dream was played out for somebody that I cared about, and
I still like it.
I was slightly kind of butthurt, but also like
happy for them.
Yeah.
Because it was cute. It happened exactly how we were thinking it would. Because the idea was that we would all get on the ride, but then something would happen with him and you, and hopefully she would realize, like, by the time we were already on the ride, and it happened exactly like that.
Because when she got on the ride, she was with you, right?
Yeah.
When she got on the ride, she didn't even realize. She didn't even realize that we weren't even on the ride because she was so into that ride.
I think that's why it worked, because by that point, all of us had already had that type of relationship where I could easily be like, oh, can I ride with you? And she'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And it's exactly how it happened. I was able to distract her enough to sit down. So by the time I sat down, she was blocked, and like she realized, she was like, no, we gotta go. And I was like, oh no, we're already on the ride. Like, oh well.
And then that's when my brother and I snuck off. But anyways, so that was my plan A. My plan B, because back then Ashley loved Ellen.
It's not that I don't love Ellen now, but
like back then Ashley loved Ellen.
Yes.
And I figured I would hit two birds with one stone because I've seen people go on there and propose or, do crazy things. And I thought, hey, that would be cool. Like if, like we both were like in the audience, at the show, and we decided, it just played out in my head in a way where I thought it would work, but it didn't work. And I was just like, you know what? Screw this. And then, so by the time I got to plan C, the VIP tickets had actually sold out. And I was really pissed off because...
do you want to shortly explain what your plan C was?
So my plan C was to do a meet and greet with Demi. Because I know Ashley absolutely loves Demi Lovato. And so my plan was to try to get the tickets to do the meet and greet. And then actually have Demi there while I proposed to Ashley. But those tickets sold out. So I had to get the next best thing, which was just the pre-show. So you actually just get up and close to her while she's,
super
doing
close.
her pre-show. Yeah, it's like super, super close. Yeah. So I pretty much we did that. I let her have her fun.
Which now that I think about it, I'm kind of glad we didn't do the meet and greet way, because I feel like Demi probably would have been uncomfortable by it. Like, I know, like, not too long after that.
But you can't assume that because you don't know her.
No, I know. And I remember, like, not even, like, a year, because it was maybe a couple months after that, we found out that somebody else had done that. Like, at the meet and greet with Demi, they proposed to their girlfriend, like, right in front of Demi. And you were really pissed off. But
wow, I blocked that out too.
I don't know, because I'm one of those, especially with Demi, because I don't just love her music, I love her as a person. And for me...
So do I.
No, I know, but, like, for me, I feel like...
There's a lot of things that I can relate with her.
Anyway, so I'm just kind of glad...
that it didn't happen that way.
Our story is
well, ended up... So, after the pre-show, they actually just piled us into a room. And in that room, which I didn't know, because honestly, I've never been to, like, a Demi Lovato concert or anything. They just literally piled us into a room, super dark, super loud.
Kind of like a rave.
It was like, they just piled us into a rave room. And I was like, really? Like, so you want us to go to a pre-show, and then I paid for these tickets to go to a pre-show and then go to a club afterwards? Like, what? Like, so...
Which theoretically, for the fans of that time, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Ashley and I aren't a big, like, clubbing scene kind of person. Like, if I'm gonna go do stuff like that, I would rather go lounge than club. So... I asked her, I was like, hey, do you want to go outside? So we went out of the room.
Well, remember, because both of especially you at that time, I don't know if you were just lying about it, but we were starting to like get super claustrophobic, and
I know I was,
having
because the room was really
anxiety attack.
small. There was a lot of people, and people kept like coming near me. I have a thing about strangers touching me. It's a whole nother thing. And so I wanted to get out of there because like I didn't want to ruin your night. So we walked out. We were sitting there. So we were sitting in the hallway. You remember what happened, right? We were sitting in the hallway, and I was fumbling because I was trying to find a way to ask her, which was like, it was super awkward because it was in a hallway of like the concert hall. And this lady...
We weren't in the hallway yet, remember? We had gone to that, it was like that circular...
Oh, and then the guy told us to move, huh?
Yeah. So, okay. So we exited the rave room. We found a quiet, private spot. We sat down. It was literally like, for maybe 5 minutes, she had already started fumbling in talking, and I could tell she was really nervous, but I was trying to chalk it off to like, oh, because you were literally having issues with the room. So I was like, maybe she's trying to just breathe from that. And like, she was just trying to get into the, rhythm of it. And then the guy came and asked us, or told us that we couldn't be there. And so you had to re-explain the situation, and he moved us to the hallway. And that's when the lady happened.
And that's when the lady happened. Yeah. The one lady that kept walking back and forth in front of us, eavesdropping. For God's sakes, I don't even know if she was actually eavesdropping.
Yeah, she was definitely tipsy.
Drunk,
maybe tipsy.
It was
for sure.
It was just weird. Like, she just kept walking in front of us, like maybe every
2 minutes.
Not even. I want to say like every 5 minutes.
No, it was definitely more than that.
Yeah. Oh, was it? It was just. I was just like,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was.
Would you like to tell them what happened?
Okay, guys. I thought I was helping. I swear I thought I was helping. You were...
No matter how many times we tell the story, everybody always sides with me.
And now we'll know
this is
the general population who will side with who. Again, I thought I was helping. By this point, she was overly nervous. Her anxiety was like through the roof, and I could tell. And this lady just like somehow timed her interruptions like to the exact point of like true interruption, where it was like I could tell she was about to ask, but then the lady would just walk on by and she would pause. So that is why basically it happened so much that the workers or whatever had to call us and tell us like they were moving us to the seats, and you still weren't able to ask by this point. And I could tell you were getting frustrated. So long story short, we went through all that, and we finally, like, the legit concert is about to start. And we're in our seats. They're bringing everybody in. And I could tell she was just done. And again, thought I was helping you. I wanted you to be able to enjoy the night. I knew if that is what you were going to ask, I already knew I wanted to say yes. And so I just assumed.
Granted, it would have been funny if it wasn't.
It really would have. Not gonna lie, that would have been really awkward. But I just, like, you could tell, she wasn't necessarily talking, but she was bringing up all these sweet moments and how we're meant to be and how whatever. We're in our seats, and at this point she's just not talking at all. So it was like super awkward for me because I was like, I really want us to enjoy the night. I want to concentrate on Demi. So that I turned to you and I was like, I know what you're trying to ask, and I know it's been difficult, but you don't have to try anymore. My answer is yes. Simple as that. I was trying to keep it cool, not trying to put any more pressure on her. Well, apparently that was not the right thing to do, because do you remember what you did?
No, I blocked that out too.
So, again, thought I was being nice. I told her my answer was yes. She didn't have to ask. Didn't say anything but, okay. Gave me the ring box. Didn't even open it up. FYI. Just gave me the box with the ring. And didn't say anything for the rest of the night.
It's because I was...
No, I'm wrong. Not for the rest of the night. By the time...
Well, I wanted you to enjoy the... I'm not going to talk through her concert. Like, wanted you to enjoy it.
I honestly am thankful that her pre-show involved the group with the 5 girls.
Fifth Harmony.
That one. Because I think that's what made you loosen up a little. Because you actually liked them and you're like, huh, I can actually see us listening to them. And I was like, oh, she's talking!
Except they're not Fifth Harmony anymore.
Well, anyway, needless to say, I very much enjoyed the night. I still think it was the best night of my life. Yeah.
Didn't you touch her hand? Didn't you guys all go up and she was like reaching down? And you had actually reached up and didn't she touch your hand?
Well, not that I remember, but if that happened, although I feel like I would remember that happening, but maybe not.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Who touched my hand that I freaked out? Was someone famous?
I mean, you've had a lot of Disney experiences.
Yes.
Anyway, best night of my life, and I think even more now, I am more thankful that it happened the way it did, because none of those people are a part of my, well, except for the one. None of those people are part of my life, and
except
not
for
that I
two.
would
Mom and...
Oh, yeah. I wasn't including Mom in that.
Wow!
Anyway, so that's our story. That's how we got engaged. That was 2014. We are in 2021.
So
We
fast forward till now.
got
married September of... Hold on. I got this. 2019, 2020 was 2019.
Yeah.
So I was in medical school.
Yeah.
But I remember the year before that, in 2018, we had actually gone to couples counseling.
But it's not how it sounds.
No.
Because when you...
I wanted us to do couple counseling because when you're in a relationship, it gets to the point where you hit a rut. And because you've been together for so long, you sometimes you hit a rut. And in order to work past that rut, there are things that you do need to talk about. Well, there are things that you won't be comfortable talking about, so you need to find like a mediator or find a way that you guys can talk to each other about that stuff. Well, so we went to couple counseling.
Well, it's also not the whole story, though. Because you and I had always agreed that we would want to do couples counseling before we actually got married.
Yeah, because
that was just something, not just for religious reasons, but it was something with everything we had gone through individually, but also as a couple in our past relationships. That was just, it was one thing that
I know for me, it's because I didn't want to end up being one of those couples that got married and then had to go to couple counseling. I wanted to be those couples that
did the preemptive strike.
Went to couple counseling to figure out how we can continue to navigate our relationship
and how to kind of give
before
us an idea
actually
of how to
making
work
that
through
permanent.
the bigger struggles.
Yeah, working through the bigger struggles and before making it permanent.
Yeah,
is what.
Because that was also something you and I, like, I don't think you and I ever really took it seriously as far as, like, okay, well, if couple counseling, like, if we don't think it works, then we'll just end our relationship. I don't think we took that seriously.
Well, no, because we both agreed it didn't work.
No, I meant, like, if we didn't think it would work, like, the relationship-wise. Like,
oh.
If couple counseling gave us the idea that our relationship wasn't meant to be, then we would call it quits. Like, I don't think you and I took that part seriously. Even though we said it to each other.
Why? You would think that we would have called it quits?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm confused. This is starting to sound like you wanted to call it quits.
No.
But you... Because you said we didn't take it seriously, so then that means that...
I don't think we, like, even though we said we would...
Okay, I'm confused. Not deaf.
Anyway, couple counseling, I believe, did work because it gave us certain tools.
Yes.
That to this day we still use.
Yes.
And I would 100% agree or 100% say that I would go back.
Yes. Well, we have talked about going back.
Yeah. And I do recommend it for those.
Not because our relationship isn't going well, just because I want to build a stronger foundation for our relationship.
Okay, so, and I think you and I agree on this, so correct me if I'm wrong as I'm saying this. We 1000% recommend couples counseling. However, don't use it as a band-aid or as a fix-it. Use it as
an ointment.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Use it as something to help you build and grow and become stronger rather than trying to fix something that may or may not already be broken. Because as individuals, you have to respect yourself and respect each other. If you don't think it's legitimately not working, don't keep forcing it. Don't try to pretend, and don't deny yourself the chance at true happiness. That's what I think. In saying that, we knew, so we got engaged in 2014.
Got married in 2019.
And I think in 2018, we kind of knew, because it was already after Mom's medical issues, we were just more and more talking about, like, okay, like, we should just get married. Like, forget about the big dream wedding. And because we were having those conversations more and more, we decided, okay, let's do this. Like, let's do couple counseling. So we did couple counseling in 2018, at the end of 2018, I think.
Yeah, because I was still working at Sprouts.
And by 2019 is when we got married. So, and it legitimately helps. I I don't read the book.
Granted, I mean, separately, we do have to go to therapy separately.
Yes.
Because there are things that separately we have to deal with, which of course does affect relationships, but because we work on it separately and by ourselves, it does help with our growth in the relationship. But the couple counseling is kind of, so like for how
and couples counseling actually tells you on that first class, remember they told you this is not something like, unless you're going to take it seriously, this is not something for the faint of heart. It's not for those of you who are trying to individually fix things. Like, this is a
together
couples
thing.
Like, you decide together that you want to make it work.
Because for me, how I look at it is my one-on-one therapy sessions are like my first stepping stone, and then my own realizations and working through everything is my second stepping stone, and then my couple counseling is like my third stepping stone, and then our relationship is like, I don't know why I'm saying stepping stones. Okay, steps like stairs. First step, second step, third step, and then the fourth step. And then what? Because at the very top of all these steps is, and I'm not saying is absolute happiness, but it's absolute content. Like, when you hit that high, the end at the very top, that's when you are content and you are at the point where you understand where you are in your life, that you can be.
So all the gears in the mechanism are in place where they should be, and it's moving. But when something gets out of place or something,
I like that, gears.
So you're not
like, there's not enough oiling the
you're not
gear.
oiling
Yeah,
all
oil
the
the
gears. Then obviously something's not going to end up working.
So what I always tell people when they're in a relationship, because, and I'm not saying like, don't take what I say like too much to the heart, because I'm not a licensed therapist,
and we're not perfect as a couple either.
Of all my relationships of my entire life that I have lived through from this point, at this point, I have realized that if you cannot figure out your own life, I don't mean like figure out your own life. I mean, like, if you can't figure out where you are in life, as in mentally, emotionally, things like that, it's hard for you. It will be hard for you to hold a relationship, because you have to always remember that your partner may also be holding that emotional turmoil. Well, not turmoil, but like, they're pretty much holding you up. So they're putting extra work in. And it's hard. Like, when one of you is doing all the lifting and the other one is not. So with all my relationships,
it's team effort.
I would definitely say, like, for me, the only reason why this one is working the most is because I'm at a point where I know mentally and emotionally where I am. Granted, I do have some downfalls. Normal, natural thing.
Yeah.
But I think because we work through it, we talk through it,
because we accept that, both about ourselves and about each other, but we're willing to accept that every day is going to be different. You have to constantly choose to kind of keep going. Love may not necessarily be a choice to a certain extent, but it is a choice to push through those obstacles to continue allowing that love to prosper and allowing yourself to continually grow within that love. Because the person we are today will not necessarily be the person we are tomorrow or 5 or 10 years down the line. Obviously, we got married 2019. It is 2021 now.
We're in a pandemic.
Started in 2020, but yes. So Jojo and I have, for the longest time, been trying to find new ways of not only working on ourselves, but stepping out of our comfort zone and trying to find ways to keep active and keep our minds going and all that. So that's kind of how the whole Josh Lee channel started, in my opinion, is because...
I mean, I know when we wanted to start this, we were actually talking about doing kind of like a vlog where we just kind of talk about, because there are a lot of issues that we would like to press because not a lot of people understand, you know, from a certain person's perspective. And I think that's where it started, where it stemmed from, why we wanted to start a YouTube channel. But we also wanted to make it fun. So not only will this YouTube channel talk about, you know, when reality hits, but it will also, like, we'll also talk about, like, food reviews, you know, eventually down the line, we're going to do some cooking, some baking. I've done a couple of coffee reviews. I've only done one coffee review.
Well, okay, so in my opinion, the YouTube channel will heavily reflect yours and my personalities. It's kind of like a hot mess. It's a mixture and a boiling point of everything that we like, everything that we think is important for people to know and for us to keep growing and learning about ourselves and each other and the world. And there will be some times where, like for our TTC journey, like I will want to ask people, you know, their viewpoints or their experiences through that and PCOS, and just a legit big grouping of everything.
And what I have, personality disorder.
You don't remember
compulsive personality disorder.
We are also going to be talking about depression individually, and in the relationship we're going to be talking about JoJo's
OCPD.
We're going to be talking
about your PCOS, RTTC.
So it's gonna be a mix of discussions. It's gonna be a mix of arts and crafts and cooking and baking and literally
eating
everything and anything that JoJo and I like, and it, you know, it's about our life, and we want to share that and continue learning about all of that. Yeah.
And then hopefully once, you know, the
pandemic is
I was going to say pandemonium. I don't even know.
Pandemonium?
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Once that's all gone, you know, obviously we might take you guys on the road because we do like to travel. We do like to go on road trips. So that's something else. But I'm hungry. So you guys have a great Sunday.
Hopefully this wasn't too boring.
Yeah.
I know it was a lot to get through and
a lot of talking.
I do apologize about that. However, we just felt that you kind of should get a sense of who we are as a couple and how we got here. So yeah. like she said, have a wonderful Sunday. We hope you have a
great rest of your week.
Yeah.
And like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next Sunday.